Welcome to the Positive Pants Podcast. Mindset, motivation, and inspiration to help you find your positive pants. It's time to let go of negative thinking, understand why you do what you do, and stop the self-sabotage. With your host, Fran Excel.
Welcome to the show. As always, it's Fran Excel, your resident subconscious success mentor, helping you find your very own pair of positive pants so you can get out of your own way and live a life that you love. If you want to stop sabotaging your own success and let go of the stress, then you are in the right place, my friend. Make sure you download your free Stressed to Success guided meditation at bit.ly/stressed to success as my little gift to you for being here. Please do subscribe, share, review. It really, really helps people that need to hear this message find us, and I so appreciate it. In the show notes, you will also find details of how you can work with me and where you can get your mitts on my meditations, products, and printables. You can also find it through the link in my bio on Instagram, which is my second favorite place to hang out. So please do come join me over there at I'm Fran Excel. Tag me in your takeaways, slide into my DMs. I am here for it. So that is the formalities over, my love. So let's jump into the content. You kind of know that the best way to stop being scared of something is to move through the fear. But it can feel hard, right? All the thoughts come up. Am I doing the right thing? Will I lose friends or loved ones along the way? What if I fail? What if I get it wrong? What if people judge me? And then all the symptoms come up too. Procrastination, overwhelm, stress, imposter syndrome, comparison. Need I go on? All the fun things. And to add insult to injury, if you're not conscious to what's really happening, you start to very quickly internalize it and make yourself wrong in some way. Yeah, that it's something fundamentally wrong with you at your core, which then perpetuates the cycles of I'm not good enough. It's for other people, not me. All of that. So there's a big problem here, though. It's the only way to really know any of these answers and to get through the behaviours and stop those pesky thoughts is to do what you fear. But here's the kicker. Not all at once. This is the magic. Bit by bit. Piece by piece. You don't have to jump from A to Z without skipping all the other letters in the alphabet, because that will actually often make the negative thoughts and symptoms worse. Yeah, I think there's another podcast episode coming just for that statement. We always want to skip straight to the end. No, my friend. We have to go softly, softly, catchy monkey on this one and build a baseline of safety as we move through it. And you do that tiptoeing your way in. You don't have to chuck yourself at it like a wrecking ball. I mean, you can. It will work in some circumstances for sure. But for most people, and when we're talking in the context of business, the softly, softly catchy monkey approach is far more effective and long lasting. Yeah. And we want that long lasting. We want it to be habitual. So start thinking about what's one small thing I can do to move towards my fear. Notice that it's coming up. You know, that could be just finding a safe space to do it in. So an example of that, which I've talked about before, is that one of my bonuses as an affiliate last time round for Lisa Johnson's One to Many course was a secret squirrel, teeny tiny group where it was safe and 100% encouraged to start going live. How much does going live hold people back in their business? Oh my gosh. I see it all the time. But they move towards their fear bit by bit. And I have to say, they're absolutely flipping smashing it now. I mean, the notifications I get of some of them going live all the time, it's like I can't stop them now. It's hard to believe that they were ever afraid of it. And that absolutely comes, but it has to start somewhere. Yeah. Another dipping your toe in the water kind of idea around live video could be posting a story on Instagram. They're 15 seconds and they only stay up 24 hours. Nice little safe way to start dipping our toes in the water. Softly, softly, catchy monkey. Yeah. Now, there's a reason the fear is there, and it's not because there's something wrong with you. It is not your fault. Yeah? It is a totally normal biological reason. The brain and the nervous system does not like change at all. And when you're starting or growing a business, going outside your comfort zone and doing new things on the daily, everything kind of works against that, right? So it's unsurprising. To start with, you're constantly in a state of being consciously incompetent too. Don't. Yeah, there's a few things at play here. So your brain and your nervous system don't like change, partly because it loves certainty. And you're not really giving it that when you're starting a business, right? The very definition of uncertainty can be running your own business. So we've got to learn a couple of things. Firstly, how to identify when our threat response, fear, has got involved, and being able to take a step back and recognize the protection mechanisms that we have. Right? If you haven't listened to the previous episode all about ego, which is a part of this, make sure you head over there, which it can be a really big help in starting to identify some of the times that this comes up, because remember, it's unconscious behavior. We've got to recognize it first, notice. So fundamentally, we want to be able to take that pause, step back for a second and observe the thoughts. First piece of the puzzle. When we can understand that this is inevitable and not permanent, it becomes so much easier to be objective about it. It's so much less emotionally charged, and there's far less blame and shame pointed towards ourselves. But we also want to know how we can work with the brain and the body to try and give it some of what it needs to be able to take action. So for this episode, I'll focus mostly on the brain for today, but remember the brain and the body are in constant communication. It's a linked system. 20% of the messaging is from the brain to the body, so your thoughts will create physiological reactions, but 80% is from the body to the brain. You often feel it before you think it. So for example, those butterflies in your tummy will quickly send a message to your brain to think certain thoughts, which will stop you doing the thing. So first things first, let's understand a little bit what's going on in our brain when the fear response is kicked in. There are several sections of the brain specifically working when it comes to fear, and it shuts off other areas of the brain that we need to be able to make conscious choices, better decisions, take action, regulate ourselves consciously. So without getting too technical on this stuff, I'm going to give you a little bit of an intro into some of these. So first, you've probably met your amygdala. You've heard probably about the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. You've probably heard someone talk about saber-toothed tigers when explaining it, but there are a few pieces of the puzzle that often get kind of left out that I think is important to know. So things start to just click into place for you. So you have three kind of key areas of the brain. You've got the brain stem, which is responsible for our unconscious actions. You know, it also helps us breathe and our heartbeat and regulate all of our systems. It's the oldest, most primitive part of the brain, right? And then you have our emotional brain, limbic system, which is where you find our friend, the amygdala. It really is our friend. It does keep us safe. It just gets it a little wrong sometimes, but its intentions are good. And it also is home to our basal ganglia, which is responsible for helping us form habits, which are energy efficient. Remember, 95 to 99% of everything we do is unconscious. That's where habits come into play. Hello, autopilot. And then we also have our hippocampus, which is responsible for memory. You don't need to remember any of these terms. It's just helpful. So here you can see that the memory center and fear center are very close friends. So memory stored in the hippocampus can activate the amygdala at the drop of a hat, and chronic stress affects the hippocampus, affecting our memory, right? So here, something that is important to recognize is that when you've rehearsed something mentally in the future, it gets stored as a memory. Uh-oh, can you see the problem with this? Then your future memories of what hasn't happened yet, from when you've catastrophized and spent many, many hours contemplating the worst case scenarios and what ifs, are now activating your fear center. Yeah, you can see the issue here. So more on this when I talk about things that we can do to calm this in the moment. But that is when your fear center is activated, you're going to get all the thoughts of who are you to do this? You're not good enough. All of that. So then you have the prefrontal cortex, which is the CEO of your brain. Think of it that way. It's higher level functioning, conscious functioning. It's where you get to make the unconscious conscious and make choices and decisions from a far better place. Yeah. Are you seeing how this is all slotting into place? Your prefrontal cortex, otherwise known as the PFC, uses up a lot of energy. Okay. So the brain works to try and conserve this by creating habits, following patterns, looking for the familiar. So this is why when it gets activated, all those pesky thoughts start to come up, is actively trying to stop you taking action, because it doesn't distinguish between good, bad, right, or wrong. Yeah. It just wants you to stay in the familiar because that's safety. There's no death there. So when the amygdala is activated through fear, doing anything new, stepping outside your comfort zone, your higher level functioning kind of gets hijacked, meaning that you can't make those good decisions. When you're in stress, your IQ level actually drops. Yeah? Your PFC is where you can consciously regulate your emotions, which is important. Now, you also have something called your anterior cingulate cortex, or the ACC, which is known as the error detection system. But that is, I'm not going to go too much into that today, but essentially its job is to scan for errors. So you'll see this, well, you won't actually see this talked about a lot with law of attraction, but it's why fundamentally often the law of attraction won't work for you in the woo-woo terms, because that, it could show up as where your conscious wants don't match with your unconscious beliefs, right? Meaning it's not safe to take action. Oh, doesn't just knowing this stuff make you excited? Like showing you that it's totally normal and changeable and that there's nothing wrong with you and that there's a way through? Women love this stuff. So I've obviously massively simplified it. I could talk about this for hours, but it's super, super helpful to know what's really going on rather than assuming it's us. Yeah. So what's next? You can take that. Knowing this stuff allows you to take that step back and understand that you make perfect biological sense in these moments, which is a good thing. But then the next step, being able to identify and name what's underneath that fear, can take the healing and the new habit formation to the next level. So what's causing it to feel like life or death for your nervous system? It could just be super simple and it's new, and you need to ease yourself in and work on creating some certainty in your brain by giving it your own future memories using visualization. The magic. So I actually have a really, really awesome, I'm very proud of this, future self meditation in my shop on my website, which is exactly for this purpose. And also when I talk about with my gratitude journal, one of the things I talk about in there when I'm explaining how to start using gratitude journaling is for this. Yeah, doing future gratitude journaling, being grateful for all the things that are coming your way as if you've already got them. Yeah, see, there is always a method to my madness. So we've got to start to feed your brain all the ways it can work out. So see yourself already having what you want. Major strategy for overcoming fear for you right there. Visualization, future gratitude. Boom. So but it could be an indication of an out-of-date belief that needs looking at. And that could be activating your ACC, your error detection system, and or your amygdala. So activate your PFC, prefrontal cortex, your CEO, the higher level thinking, by making the unconscious conscious, and dig a little deeper. Have an explore with your journal and try to name the fear, which also helps calm the amygdala. It's a very left brain way of calming the amygdala down, to just name it. So what's the emotion? Yeah. And if you Google emotion wheels, they can be super, super helpful when you struggle to name emotions, because a lot of us are very disconnected to our emotions. Yeah. So also name, what is the fear? What are you afraid of? Where might that have come from? Yeah. You master your fear by mastering your emotions and knowing this stuff, but knowing how to regulate your nervous system as well when it's activated. And my free stress to success meditation is exactly what that helps with. So make sure you go grab that. It's all of this stuff is linked up in the show notes, that and all on my Instagram as well. I'm always hanging out on there, so make sure you come over there, slide into my DMs, darling. So they're always going to come up, these fears, but mastering how we react to them is hugely important, and that is what will calm them over the long term. It's not about suppressing, it's about addressing. Understanding why it's happening and the tools to get you through is absolutely not about letting it take over and causing you not to take action. Fear is going to happen. It's what are you making it mean about you that you have those fears? Yeah, see how this all connects together. It doesn't matter how much you know about this stuff. Fear's going to happen. It really doesn't matter how much you know. But the more you practice, the less it will have an effect. The quicker you can move through it so that it doesn't stop you in your tracks. So I just want you to remember that you make perfect sense. Yeah, there is a way through, and all the good stuff is sat there waiting for you on the other side.
So if you've got value from this and you know in your gut that now is the time to step up and start rewiring your thinking and start changing things for yourself, then please do book in a free discovery call so we can work out what needs to happen to get you from where you're at right now to the action-taking success you know you can be. If you want my eyes and ears on your problems, then I do work with people one-on-one and through the Proactive Pants program. You can find all the details to book in a call in the show notes, the link in my bio on Instagram, and on my website, franexcel.com. So stop waiting for if and when and choose to change things now, because you can. I am here to believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. And as always, I hope you found this helpful. And as always, I will see you next week. Bye.